I actually would like to show you a new reading type that I've come up with during this quarantine season that relates to sobriety, being sober, staying sober, becoming sober, all of that. And it's not just about alcohol, it's about any sort of addiction that you could be struggling with. So, I'm going to show you what this reading looks like in a little bit. But I just wanted to say that I can tell that some of you are struggling right now with keeping your sobriety going. When you're in quarantine, you're less connected with the world. There's less of a motivation to stay disciplined, and it's like everything loses its weight and its meaning. And so I wanted this reading to help you reorient yourself if you are struggling with that pattern. I wanted it to give you some hope and to help you focus your mind back on what you need to do, what you originally wanted to do, or what you should be doing. So, let's jump into this reading. So, please sit down or lay down comfortably and make sure that you're inhaling deeply. This reading is going to help you reorient yourself and reinforce your dedication to sobriety. And the World card has jumped out to give you some reinforcement. We are all in this together. We're all struggling with something. I am no different. You are no different. We're all having to deal with this on some level. And your struggle happens to be an addiction that you're trying to keep at bay. So I'm going to help you. You can trust the world. The world is here to help you with this. I am here to give you some support. So, the first card is going to represent your past. And the next card is going to represent your current energies. And I'm going to draw 2 cards for the factors that are threatening your sobriety. And 2 cards to inspire you. stay focused on your journey. Okay. So, if you are in recovery, this time period could be especially difficult for you because I'm not sure if 12 steps meeting are available to you, perhaps online. But it's a lot harder to have that personal connection that can give you some meaningful encouragement. So, yeah, and there's a lot of boredom, a lot of emptiness that could tip you over, so be very careful. And if you are drunk when you're watching this, because that's also a possibility, please be kind to yourself. I understand you. Yeah, the past is the Page of Swords. And the present, the current energies are represented by the Five of Wands. Now, the energies that are a threat to your sobriety, the Empress and the Three of Pentacles. The inspiration is the Ten of Swords and the Knight of Wands. It's interesting because it seems like the inspiration seems to be a terror, a fear of sliding back into some negative patterns. And the threat seems something very innocent, very tricky. So I think it's very lucky that you stumbled upon this reading because you were about to be trapped. And if you have already relapsed, then this could be an explanation for why it happened so that you can learn from it. Of course, this is a general reading, so if you are not connecting with it, feel free to take whatever you resonate with from this reading. This is a collective energy reading of those people who are struggling with this pattern. It's not personally for you, but I hope it's going to help you anyway. So, in the past position, we have the Page of Swords, which is a card of intellectual humility, accepting that there's a different way that you could be looking at things. It's the acceptance that your powers are limited, that you might not know everything, that you yourself might not be knowledgeable enough to navigate the situation. So it's actually a very good card, and even if you are not sober yet, this past card is indicating to me that you have thought about stopping and that you are aware that you don't have it all together. And if you are already sober, this represents the first most important step on this journey, which is accepting that you don't know it all. then maybe you're wrong. Maybe your perception, your perspective is misleading. So this is the past energy that we are building on. It's pretty good for this situation. Currently, however, we have the Five of Wands as your internal energy. And just by looking at this card, I'm pretty sure that you can tell that it's not the most peaceful card. There's a lot of internal conflict and struggle that it represents. It's basically an angry energy. You feel frustrated, downtrodden, humiliated. You feel like you want to show the world what you're made of. There's an ambitiousness to this card, a competitive nature that makes it kind of hard on you energetically. It's very exhausting, and it might be the source of some bad decisions, some rash decisions. Now, the inspiration first. The inspiration to stay sober comes from you understanding what happens when you fall off the wagon. This card paints a pretty clear picture of what that would be like for you. The Ten of Swords. Your intellect, the mental journey, this mental attitude that you have been developing, completely destroyed. Back to ground zero. Back to feeling like you've got it all together. With the Knight of Wands, which is a card of infinite confidence. But this confidence is built on illusions. So the Ten of Swords represents the bubble bursting and the oscillation between being in this high manic energy with the Knight of Wands and then falling back to the hell and the torturous energy of the Ten of Swords. So your current inspiration comes from remembering what those times were like. Remember the humiliation. Remember the shame that cuts to your core. Remember the recklessness, how much heartache, how much pain you've caused, and how much danger you put yourself and others in. So that's all you need for inspiration, I think. Just remember, because there's an illusion here, a very dangerous illusion. The Three of Pentacles and the Empress. Normally, these two cards would be very lovely, but in In the context of this reading, they are setting a trap for you. They represent a desire to be useful and productive, and making progress, especially in pragmatic, practical terms, and working together with other people. It represents cooperation, fitting in, being one piece of a puzzle. And the Empress represents growth on every level: spiritual, emotional, monetary, intellectual. Doesn't sound too bad, right? Well, the trick here is that you feel this pressure to stay productive and to keep building things and to keep being productive and keep generating wealth and growth for yourself. And this sort of pressure, which on the surface does not sound bad, in the current situation can be kind of unrealistic. We're all struggling with motivation issues right now, let's be clear. Nobody in a quarantine wakes up at 6 a.m., eats a healthy breakfast, goes to their own gym or whatever, and works for 8 hours straight. Nobody does that. We're all kind of in this depressive state of not wanting to do anything. And it's natural. The real danger for you, my friend, is in justifying your turning back to some negative patterns, whatever they may be. It's you telling yourself, I've done a lot today, so I deserve to relax by drinking this or that, by doing this or that. It's you justifying your alcohol or drug consumption or whatever it may be as it's helping you, making you productive. Forget about all of that. Excuse my language, but fuck productivity. Don't care about it. This might not be the perfect time for you to write a novel or, clean your entire house or start working out like a maniac. Maybe it's not the best time for that. Some people are doing it. But most of us are in an introverted, lethargic state. Don't push yourself. Don't justify negative patterns by saying, but look at me. I'm making progress. I'm utilizing my time. If you feel a natural drive to be productive and you're in the flow already, and that's great. Just make sure that even if you momentarily fall out of it, don't try to use any of these old techniques, meaning falling back into your addiction, to make up for lost time or to put yourself back into the mood to be creative. Don't do that. It's a trap. It's a challenge. Perhaps the inspiration comes from accepting that things are turbulent and less than ideal right now. Just accept defeat if necessary, and be kind to yourself. Have compassion. This is an extraordinary situation, and nothing is more important than your sobriety. It's your number one project right now. Everything else is secondary. Don't let yourself be fooled into going back to your old ways for the sake of productivity. And even if you have to work with other people, because the Three of Pentacles represents a group project. So even if you feel like you're not pulling your weight in a group project, don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. Let me be clear on this. Let me be crystal clear on this. Nothing is worth losing your clarity and your sobriety over. This is what we're here for. We're here for an unmodified, unfiltered, unsugar-coated version of reality. And it's sometimes painful. It sometimes just feels like you're uninspired and you're weak and you're bored and you're anxious. It's all part of the package. But you can endure it. That's what we're here for. I am here for this. And you are here for this. This is gonna pass. Don't worry about it. You're doing just fine. Good luck to you.